I am here today with Arella Seaton, who is our featured designer for the first box of the Skill Builder Yarn Club with Sweet Paprika Designs. And we're going to talk all about her and her designs and mosaic knitting, which is the technique that she's presenting for our Skill Builder boxes. So, Arella, maybe you could just introduce yourself and tell us a little bit about who you are and what you're all about.
My name is Arella, and I'm a knitwear designer for over 10 years now. I've been designing different accessories patterns and blankets and so on. And for most of part, I'm doing mosaic knitting now. Uh, when I first started out, I tried lace and all different techniques, but then I found that lace designs, I'm not like creating my own charts. I just use something what's available in stitch dictionaries and so on, what most of people use. And I want it to be like more do something just on my own.
Mm-hmm.
And then I discovered mosaic knitting. I think it was about 15 years ago, or when all that handicraft forums were popular. I joined the forum in my native Estonian community, and there was a chat about different techniques, and mosaic knitting came up, and I thought, oh, I have a look what it is. And then I tried like different ways to work mosaic in back and forth and in around and different things. And in a process of doing that different swatches, I created a slippers pattern. What
Right.
was my first mosaic pattern for
Mm-hmm.
mosaic slippers. And then I like knitted it together there in an Estonian forum. And then that Ravelry was like new all, and I joined Ravelry and put my pattern up there in Estonian.
Yeah.
And like people started to ask me, oh, is there a pattern available in English? And so it all started
That's
somehow.
all started with a pair of
Yeah,
slippers. Yes.
yeah,
Um,
yeah,
let's back up just a little bit. So you're from Estonia, and there's
yeah,
quite a large knitting tradition in Estonia. So did you grow up
yeah.
knitting as a child, or how did you get introduced to knitting just in general?
Um, when I grew up, it was like uh, everyone was knitting or doing some sort of handicraft, and we had to learn knitting at school.
Mm.
And I actually don't remember did I learn from my mom or from school or how. But yeah, at that time at school we had to make at first we made a scarf in garter stitch,
Mm-hmm.
and then we had to make socks and pair of mittens in stranded knitting.
Mm-hmm.
I just remember that rows were endless and it went so so slow. So my mom helped me out there. And yeah, at first it was like necessity in some way. We made socks for winters because winters are really cold in Estonia. It's you wear woolly socks in boots, and after that, for many years, I knitted. Not really much. I was more in sewing. I made all my clothes and
Mm-hmm.
everything. But
But then you
So
got back into knitting and you fell in love with mosaic.
yeah, yeah, I got back in knitting when I moved to live in England.
Okay.
It's about 18 years ago. I was like, at first I didn't know many people, and I had a lot of time in evenings, and it's just to spend some time.
Hmm.
And yeah, that's
And
how it happened. Yeah.
yeah.
Mhm.
So the when you talked about mosaic knitting at the beginning, you mentioned that it's a way that you can express yourself with your own charts to make your own designs. Can you tell us
Yeah.
what else is special about mosaic knitting? What appeals to you about that particular technique?
Um, I find mosaic knitting, uh, you create quite striking images.
Yeah,
Like
can you show us
at
some of
first,
what
I
you have?
started with made some bags. They are not as detailed as in stranded knitting,
Mm-hmm.
but it's very beginner friendly color work. If
Mm-hmm.
you like, not very confident to keep that two strands in a hands like in stranded knitting, you have to. Then the mosaic knitting for is for like beginners because you work just with one strand at a time.
Mm-hmm.
You knit two rows back and forth in one color, and then you drop that one color at the beginning of the row, and you pick up another color, and then you knit with another color back and forth, and you slip the stitches from a previous row to create that pattern to bring the other color up there.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
So it's yeah.
And it's often worked in garter stitch, right? So you've got a very like it's a kind of cushiony fabric. It's a little
Yeah,
bit different
definitely.
that yeah. Yeah.
Definitely, yeah. Yeah, it's easier when you work in back and forth to work in garter stitch.
Mm-hmm.
But basically, and another thing, working in garter stitch, the row and stitch gauge, it creates quite a square pattern.
Yeah.
You can work the same pattern in stockinette, but it will be a little bit stretched out.
Yes, yeah. If your
Yeah,
stitch and row
uh, yeah,
ratio is not the
yeah,
same. Yeah.
yeah,
Yeah.
yeah. Yeah, definitely you can work in stockinette, like in mittens. It's
Mm.
worked in around, and it's yeah easier that way.
Yes. But you
And
can
some
see with
people,
those diamonds that
yeah,
they're a little bit stretched
yeah,
long. Yeah.
yeah,
Yeah.
yeah, yeah, and some people just prefer stockinette, so
Mm. Yeah.
it's preference. Yeah.
Yeah. And do you find that, I know that you've not created quite a lot of different kinds of patterns. So you have the like, blankets and bags and skirts and tops like the one
Yeah,
that you're wearing. Is there
yeah.
any particular type of project that you find garter, or not garter stitch, but mosaic knitting is particularly suited to, or do you think you can do it for everything?
um, yeah, you can do everything. Yeah. I find that blankets is, I think, my preference because of that cushiony texture
Mm.
and yeah,
Yeah, it's very warm too, I'm sure.
yes,
Mosaic
yeah,
blanket. Yeah.
yeah, yeah.
Where do you find the inspiration for your patterns when you're making up a chart? What inspires you to create something new?
Oh, that inspiration can come from everywhere. Yeah, but for my blankets, I've used quite a lot of motifs from Estonian handicraft, historic costumes, uh, I take a motif from woven belt or some stranded mittens or something and like translate it into mosaic knitting. or from traveling in Spain, we see lots of that Spanish tiles, geometric patterns, and I've used those, and yeah.
Inspiration can
Sometimes
come from
just
a lot of places, eh?
yeah. Sometimes just I see some motif and I think, oh, that would make nice pattern for
Nice.
mosaic.
Nice.
Yeah.
Do you have a favorite pattern or a piece that you're very proud of that's like the thing that you go, the kind of want to show off to the world when you think about your work?
I think it must be the first blanket I made using Estonian motifs.
Nice.
It's called Urvaste.
Okay.
What is little village in Estonia where my mom was from, and that motif is from that um, woman belt what's worn with national costume in that area, and I think it's like closest to my heart.
For sure, for sure. It's part of
Yeah.
your tradition and it's remembering your mom and yeah.
Yeah.
Um, well, thank you very much for joining us today and talking a little bit about your work. If people are interested in finding your patterns, where should they look for them? You mentioned that you have some on Ravelry. Is there other places that people can find your patterns online?
Yeah, mostly on Ravelry. Yeah, I have a like website based on the Payhip with my
Okay,
name Arella Seaton Design, but
okay,
I haven't added all of my patterns there. There are most of Mosaic is there. Yeah, but
yeah. But if you want
Ravelry
the
is the
whole
main.
collection, it's on Ravelry.
Yeah,
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 perfect.
it's on Ravelry. Yeah,
Yeah, and you're on Instagram too if people want to check in and say hi to you, yeah?
yeah, it's all on the same name Arella
Let's
Seaton
see.
Design. Everywhere on Facebook and Instagram.
Perfect.
Yeah.
Well, we are really looking forward to sharing your new mosaic pattern with our subscribers for the Skill Builder Yarn Box. And I want to thank you again for coming and talking to me today. It's really been fun to get to see you face to face because we've sent a lot of emails over the last year or so, but this is the first time we're really talking in real time, so
Yeah.
it's really fun.
Thank you for having me.
You're welcome.